FM-21-100, The Soldier's Handbook, the GI's Bible. In 1941, as young Americans flooded training camps, one small book became their constant companion, FM-21-100, The Soldier's Handbook. This pocket-sized manual was the bridge between civilian life and military service, opening with words that defined their transformation. You are now a member of the Army of the United States. Compact yet comprehensive, its 250 pages covered everything a soldier needed to survive and succeed. Military discipline, chain of command, map reading, tactical movement, all essential knowledge compressed into a format that fit in every uniform pocket. But it went deeper than protocol. The handbook emphasized a critical philosophy. At any moment, you might need to take command if your leaders fell. Every man needed to know the job of the man above him. Soldiers wore out their copies, pages becoming soft from constant handling, corners dog-eared from field use. Veterans recalled studying it by flashlight in barracks, how NCOs drilled them on its contents until it became as familiar as a letter from home. FM-21-100 wasn't just a manual, it was the foundation upon which everything else was built. The GI's Bible in a world of chaos and war. FM-235 U.S. Rifle, caliber .30, M1, The Rifleman's Guide. General Patton called the M1 Garand the greatest battle implement ever devised, and FM-235 was the manual that taught millions how to master it. Published in 1940, this field manual was a soldier's lifeline to understanding the revolutionary rifle that would accompany him from Normandy to the Philippines. The M1 represented a quantum leap in firepower, a semi-automatic weapon that could fire as fast as a soldier could pull the trigger. FM-235 taught everything: how to field strip the weapon in darkness, diagnose malfunctions under fire, and maintain it in conditions from desert sand to jungle humidity. The manual's immediate action drills became a rhythmic mantra: tap, pull, observe, release, tap, and shoot. Marksmanship training was rigorous and methodical. Soldiers learned to fire from every position at ranges from 100 to 500 yards. They mastered breathing techniques, trigger squeeze, and battle sight zeroing. For the infantrymen, this manual represented survival. A well-maintained M1 could fire over 5,000 rounds without failure. A neglected one could jam at the worst possible moment. In the mud of Italy and frozen forests of Belgium, FM-235's teaching saved countless American lives. FM-21-11, First Aid for Soldiers. The Lifesaver's Manual. On any battlefield, the first minutes after injury determine survival. FM-21-11, published in 1943, empowered every American soldier to become a potential lifesaver. Printed on sturdy paper designed to withstand rain, mud, and blood, this 120-page handbook was carried close at hand in combat. The manual's purpose was stark: teach soldiers what to do when no medic was nearby. In the chaos of battle, where medics might be overwhelmed or unable to reach wounded men, this knowledge became sacred. It taught the 3 essential steps: check breathing, control bleeding, prevent shock. Detailed illustrations showed proper bandaging for head wounds, chest wounds, and abdominal injuries, the horrific catalog of war's damage. But it went beyond trauma. The manual addressed frostbite in European winters, heat exhaustion in North African deserts, and tropical diseases in Pacific jungles. It explained the contents of each soldier's first aid kit and when to use them: the compress bandage, sulfanilamide powder, and morphine syrettes. Soldiers studied FM-21-11 with intensity born of necessity, knowing they might have to save a buddy's life before help arrived. Many veterans credited this manual with saving lives, sometimes their own. FM-21-76, Survival Manual. The Manual of Last Resort. FM-21-76 represented knowledge soldiers prayed they'd never need, but studied with fervent attention. The Survival Manual was the guide for worst-case scenarios: cut off from your unit, stranded in enemy territory, forced to subsist in wilderness with minimal supplies. The manual was built around a simple acronym: SURVIVAL. L. Size up the situation. Undue haste makes waste. Remember where you are. Vanquish fear and panic. Improvise. Value living. Act like the natives. Learn basic skills. This framework gave structure to chaos when everything else had fallen apart. What made FM 2176 invaluable was its comprehensive coverage across every combat environment. For air crews shot down over the Pacific, it taught raft construction and water collection. For soldiers evading capture in European forests, it detailed navigation by stars and shelter construction. But the manual's most critical contribution was addressing the psychology of survival, recognizing that the will to live was as important as any technical skill. Practical knowledge filled hundreds of pages, building fires, purifying water, constructing traps, identifying edible plants across different continents. Soldiers carried FM 2176 knowing that if they seriously needed it, they were in the worst situation of their lives. Yet that knowledge was empowering. They weren't helpless victims, but armed with survival wisdom. FM 2145, Protective Measures, Individuals, and Small Units. The Art of Staying Unseen. In modern warfare, being seen meant being targeted. FM 2145, published in 1942, taught American soldiers the art of invisibility on the battlefield. This field manual recognized a fundamental truth. The best fight was often the one you avoided by never being detected. The manual taught the critical difference between cover and concealment. Cover protected you from bullets. Concealment hid you from observation. Soldiers learned to constantly seek positions offering both. Camouflage occupied substantial portions, defeating the 5 principles enemy observers used: shape, shine, silhouette, spacing, and movement. The manual showed how to break up a helmet's outline with foliage, dull exposed skin with face paint, avoid being silhouetted against skylines, and minimize detectable movement. Detailed instruction covered constructing camouflaged fighting positions, removing sod in replaceable chunks, disposing of dirt without obvious spoil piles, maintaining natural-looking approaches. Beyond personal concealment, FM 2145 addressed protection against aerial observation, chemical warfare, and operational security. It taught that careless talk cost lives. From Normandy's hedgerows to New Guinea's jungles, these protective measures meant survival. The manual taught that the enemy was always watching, always listening, but it empowered soldiers with knowledge to stay hidden, stay protected, and stay alive. TM 9100522221 2M1. Garand Technical Manual. The Weapon Keeper's Guide. While FM 235 taught soldiers how to shoot the M1 Garand, Technical Manual 9100522212 taught something equally vital: how to keep it shooting. This technical manual was the detailed companion to every rifleman's most important tool, focusing on organizational level maintenance. The TM9 series represented the Army's understanding that complex machines require detailed care. Exploded diagrams showed every component, from the 8-part trigger group to the gas operating rod assembly. Each part was numbered with specifications for dimensions and acceptable wear limits. This wasn't academic. It was diagnostic information for when rifles malfunctioned. Combat conditions challenged the M1 Garand in ways designers never anticipated. Sand in North Africa, humidity in the Pacific, Arctic cold, European mud. TM 9-1005-222-12 provided maintenance schedules and procedures for each environment. It specified proper lubricants for different climates and troubleshooting guides for systematic diagnosis. Most valuable were sections on field expedient repairs. When replacement parts weren't available, the manual taught armorers how to improvise, fashioning replacement firing pins from specific nail types, restoring function with files and improvised tools. Unit armorers became unsung heroes, working through nights to keep rifles functional. Their expertise, drawn from this technical manual, ensured that when soldiers needed their rifles most urgently, those rifles functioned flawlessly.